Nothing like waking up to the sound of drums in the morning, afternoon, evening, day. Drums. Speaking of waking up, opened up Discord. Good morning, Discord, and hello to you guys that are watching on our live feed. Hope everyone's doing
Good
well.
morning.
Hello. Everybody say hello.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Good morning.
Well, all right. So let's put a couple of reminders out there for Open Pagan Church. We do a live broadcast every Sunday that we can on Facebook. Tends to be right now the best live media that we can find that's easy, supposedly, for people to get to. So it would seem. We start broadcasting at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. If you don't know what Central Time is, Google it. And we are a family channel. Now, every once in a while we do slip and the occasional word comes out, but we keep our topics family oriented, basic pagan oriented, and or lifestyle oriented of one kind or another. We have a non-expiring link that Cindy posted in the channel and is in the link in the description above the chat. Also, in the description above the chat, whatever topic we're doing, we try to have helpful links in there to help people pull up and kind of see what we're talking about, see where we're going. And I remind people again, just because one of us here in Open Pagan Church may say something or talk about something, we're coming at things from our perspective, our point of view. It doesn't mean we always think we're right. It's not my job to be right. Alright. So that being said, let's get on with it. Our topic this morning, today, is going to be what it takes to get ordained, registered to perform weddings. In Texas, they consider it, once you are a ordained minister, you are recognized by your peers as a minister of your chosen faith, whether it's Jewish, Christian, pagan, whatever. And different states have different laws. We kind of sort of covered this last week. This week we wanted to cover actually what it takes, what you have to do. Now, I hate to say it, but just to get the piece of paper that says you're ordained, there are a multitude of pages, web pages out there, that you can fill out a bit of information, pay a little bit of a fee, and poof, you're ordained.
And they can even ordain your dog as a minister.
You can, yes. You can have a ministered kitty. Well, I wanted to make sure that come out right. You can have an ordained puppy. But to be respected in the pagan community, you generally need some form of training. You need to have a really good handle on what the pagan philosophy is about. Now here's the thing, and I may make some of you angry, and if I do, oh well. Just because you are of a particular denomination of paganism, such as witch, shaman, fae, druid, whatever, unless you are versed in pagan philosophy, pagan history, what paganism is, and it's not Christian pagan, sorry. It's not Jewish pagan, sorry. The one I love is atheist pagan, sorry. Not going to happen. You're typically not going to be taken seriously in the pagan community. Now, that's up to you. If you want to be a ordained minister of the god rockology, well, more power to you. However, if you are in Texas, and I stress again, the home base for Open Pagan Church is in Texas, thereby if we ordain one of our Open Pagan Church ministers, then we make sure they understand the laws, regulations of Texas, and how to find the laws and regulations of other states. Right. Any questions so far? Have I lost everybody? Are we down to zero watching yet?
No.
So without further ado, now these web pages, I got 3 of them. These pages that I use, understand, we are by no means endorsing these particular web pages. It just happened to be what I came up with this morning. Oh, there you go. I need to repaint my coffee cup. It's getting a little worse to wear there, I think. Right. Left monitor. Wrong button. Left monitor, no text. There we go. All right. So the first page we're going to look at, and I will put it, it's in the description. Say what? All right. So I put it in the link there. Okay. Come on, Cam, you quit flickering. Thank you. So this is the American Marriage Ministries, certified IRS 501c3 nonprofit church. That is a mouthful. Now if you decide that you want to file for, the damn flickering is going to drive me bananas. If you decide you want to file for a 501c3, could a self-taught pagan become ordained? Absolutely. You absolutely can. I know when I got my ordination, is that even a word? When I got ordained back in 99, 2000, I was self-taught. The laws that I looked up stated that 3 people had to recognize you as a priest minister, whatever, in that chosen religion. And I think it's still the same way. Cindy, slide over to House of Pagans. We have somebody requesting to join, please. Thank you.
Alright.
So if you decide you want to file for a 501c3, which is a tax-exempt non-profit charity, and this document is as of 2015, so I strongly recommend that you take a look at the IRS under the laws and rules and regulations as of late for 501c3. I will tell you this: the documentation that you have to present, maintain, and file every quarter for a 501c3 is daunting. Open Pagan Church has never received donations, really. Open Pagan Church has, the donations that we have received have gone immediately right straight back into the church or to help keep the lights on. Yeah, we really just don't have anything to file. So when I spoke to a lawyer about I spoke to a tax lawyer about the 501c3 as a registered church in the United States. He did inform me that the filing fees were upward of around $2,000, $2,500. You had to do quarterly tax returns, blah de blah de blah. So if you're thinking about a 501c3, well, have fun with that. Right. So this is one of the locations that will ordain you. It talks about how it works, how to get ordained, what to do, the paperwork that needs to be filed. These people even offer wedding training, straight state minister registration, get ordained today, blah blah blah. So there is, I kid you not, there is the registration form to become a registered minister of whatever faith in America. Now, different states require different things. Different states require you to do different things. And I'm going to cover just a little bit about Texas to kind of give you an idea of what it takes to register with the state of Texas as an ordained minister. Now this other page that is Ministry. It stands there really for open ministry. God dang flickering.
It's okay.
Die nuts. Come on. Anyway, here are your essential basic laws, and I sent the link. So here's what you need to know, and you can jump to these different links. Become an ordained minister in Texas, contact the county clerk in Texas and where you live, getting ordained credentials for Texas, how to perform a wedding in Texas, Texas state marriage officiant law. Now, the one thing that, oh yeah, there's a lot to it, boy, let me tell you, it will absolutely drive you crazy. one of the things that the most important thing, and let me say this real quick here. The most important thing is to remember the specific paperwork that has to be registered when you're performing a wedding. We now live in Collin County, Texas. I don't mind telling you what county I live in. Hell, if you want it, I'll give you my home address. But in Collin County, when I was blessed with the opportunity to perform my parents' wedding, we contacted the county clerk. We explained that I am a, however many year at the time, minister. Do I need to come down and register with the county clerk to perform weddings in Collin County? We were told point blank, no, it doesn't make any difference, as long as you follow the Texas state laws to perform a wedding in Texas. Okay, well, that was simple. I have two people. Texas doesn't recognize polyamory marriages, I'm sorry. But I had two people that wanted to be married. These two people went down and filed with the county clerk to get their marriage license. We waited the required 10 days. We performed the wedding before the 30-day deadline. Back when I got married the first time in the 80s, you had to do a blood test. You had to do a blood test to prove that you were not related to the individual in which you were getting married. I think they stopped doing that in the 90s, I believe. So following regulation, went down, got the wedding license, planned the wedding. And here are the things, the verbiage I had to use to make the ceremony legal. I had to look at individual A and say, do you take individual B as your lawfully wedded spouse? Now you can stick husband, wife, 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 whatever, right? But the law clearly states they have to be two people. They have to be human beings. In other words, I'm not kidding with you. You cannot marry a human to a cow. It actually states somewhere in Texas marriage law that the two people being married can only be two people, and they have to be human.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
If you go into Texas laws and do some deep research on it, there's some crazy Texas marriage law.
There is, and most of those laws on the Texas books are 200 years old. I believe somebody needs to do an update. But anyway, so, 1, 2 people. Number 2, they have to be human. Number 3, the verbiage of do you, person A, take you, person B, to be your lawful spouse. You hope they say yes. Because if they don't, the whole thing comes to a screeching halt. Well, now you have to look at person B and say, do you, person B, and believe it or not, you have to say their whole name, their registered name that's on their driver's license, that's on the wedding license. So you have to read their name off the wedding license as they put it on there. Okay? So do you, person B, take person A to be your lawful spouse? You hope they say yes. Now, whatever you put before that is up to you. Whatever you put after that, to a degree, is up to you. But there are a couple of more things that have to be said.
And you can watch the age.
Say again?
And there's the age limit now.
Age limit?
Well, they can't, let's see, the age is still, they cannot get married before the age of 16. With 16, 17, parent consent.
Right, but all of that is handled by the particular county when they go to get the marriage license. When they go to get the marriage license, the county clerk will check your driver's license. You have to have a valid state identification, and they will, I will warn you now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, girls and girls and boys, they will check for outstanding warrants. Keep that in mind when you go to the county to get a contract, when you go to the county clerk to get a contract, they will check for warrants. My beard is crooked this morning. I digress. So anyway, here we go. So I've asked person A and B, do you take each other as your lawful spouse? Yes. The next thing I have to say is the one that irritates me to no end, and it's the one that a lot of people don't say, but it has to be said. Does anyone show just cause why these two should not be wed, married, hitched, lawfully done, whatever? You have to at least say, can anyone show just cause why these two should not be joined in marriage? You have to give it at least to the count of 3. And I'm not talking about 1, 2, 3. You have to give it at least long enough for you to take a deep breath and blow it out and hope like hell nobody says anything.
And I've been there that they have.
Yes. Yes. Out of all of the ceremonies I've done over the last 20 odd years, there's only been one, and somebody did it as a joke. I didn't find it funny. But anyway, I digress. So, do you take them? Yes. Can anyone show just cause? No. Great. Then you have to ask, do you have a ring? Well, if no, that's fine. It's not, I've had some people tell me it's required by law that you have a wedding ring. No, it's not. Then I've had people tell me that it's required by law that you read the marriage vows out of the Bible. No, it's not. That's a Christian thing. The marriage thing, the legal binding marriage thing, do you take them? Yes. Can anyone show just cause why not? No. Then you give them the opportunity. Will there be wedding rings? If no, fine. Here's one of the very important parts. You have to ask, will there be wedding vows? Do you have them written, or will you speak them? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those here in just a little bit. Okay? How we work the wedding vows and stuff like that. What I'm talking about right now is just what constitutes a wedding in Texas that's recognized by the government. Right? So, here we go. Do you take them? Yes. Can you prove why not? No. Are there wedding vows? No. Or yes. Are there rings? No. Or yes. Well then, whatever you want to say, however you're going to put it, however long the wedding, whatever the preacher, priest, minister, whatever wants to say, I've seen weddings last 5 minutes. The base core wedding lasts 5 minutes. I have seen some people that want to go on for an hour. De blah, de blah, de blah, de blah. No, I can't stand up for an hour. In closing, this is something that people forget to do, and it's required by law. Once they've done their vows, they put the rings on if they have them. They spoke their vows if they have them. The legal part is to turn them around and introduce them as married. Now, some people think the verbiage has to be husband and wife. No, this is 2020. Same-sex marriage is legal in the United States. I give a damn whether or not it's legal in whatever state you live in. Federal law trumps state law. So, there. If you don't believe me, look the shit up. Because there are, I think, still some states that don't want to recognize same-sex marriage. They don't have any choice. Alright. So you introduced them as married. Now, whether or not they're going to take each other's name is not important. Not anymore. Back in the 60s, that was a part of the thing. When a man married a woman, the woman took the man's last name, took the man's family name, and it's just the way it was.
I usually do it as, okay, like, here is Cynthia Renee, and she's going to keep her name, I'll say that name, and him, his full name and her full name as man and wife.
Well, you can do that as long, the verbiage is up to you. As long as you introduce them to the public as a legally married couple. Poof, your job is done as far as the legal verbiage. Now, in Texas, make sure you have a witness, usually if there was a best man or bridesmaid or something like that. Make sure you have someone of the wedding party, if there was. There has to be a witness that is willing to sign the witness line on the marriage certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, do not have your witness sign the wedding certificate prior to the ceremony. I have never seen one be balked, but it can be. It is written very plainly on the wedding license. Witness of marriage ceremony.
Did it have to be one? I thought it was two.
When I did the moms, it was one.
Okay.
I think, well, that may be a county thing. I don't know. But I know in Texas, you have to have at least one.
Yeah, down here when I did Lucy's, Clint was one witness, and I had someone else. Had to.
Yeah, so irregardless, however many witnesses that the license requires. Now, understand this. Irregardless of the state, county, or city that you are filing the wedding license, make sure every line on that license is filled out completely. I made this mistake some years back. The date has to be written out. The month has to be written out, as in, i.e., this is March the 1st. Wow, this is March the 1st, 2020. So you have to spell out March, and then a 1, and then a 2020. You cannot do 3/1/20. They won't take it. They won't accept it. And if they do, they're in violation of their own statute. I'm just saying. Believe it or not, folks, that's the simplicity of getting married by state law. Now, I'm gonna click efficient. Let's see what date this page is dated. Get ordained. Trusted ministry, blah blah blah, 50 states. In case you're wondering what I'm looking at, and because the damn video is flickering, I'm not going to show the page. You can, if you want to link it, you can look at it. Alright, 50 states, blah blah blah. Well, it doesn't say much. It doesn't say much. The only thing they say, the only thing they're doing is advertising their open ministry page for you to try to buy a kit. So, isn't that nice of them? So anyway, I mean, that's it, folks. I can absolutely exit that website, because for the truth of it, that's all there is.
Yeah, this probably is going to be a short one, because, you know, you can talk to about it only so long. Any questions, Lee?
Well, let's talk about some of the things that different people require. Okay, I mean, I know I've had, people ask me, okay, what do you require to perform a legal wedding? Well, one, a pre-wedding counsel, preferably a week before. Preferably, I've done them the same day. They're kind of rushed, but it is what it is. Some of the questions I ask during a pre-wedding counsel when I'm looking at the two people. Are you getting married out of duress? Do you feel you have to get married only to keep your relationship together? I've had two that decided not to get married because they were getting married because the Christian values that they grew up with required them to get married. And I explained to them, that's not a legal thing. The two of you say you're pagan. Okay, you don't follow Christian values. Just because she's pregnant and you're the dad does not require you in pagan values generally to get married. Now, if you feel it's the right thing to do and both of you are in agreement to it, rock on. But don't get married just because you feel you have to. Right? That's the first question. The second question is, now here's a little bit about what we talked about last week. What's your intent? A year and a day? As long as you live?
As the God sees fit?
As long as the God see fit? Yeah.
Eternity?
Yeah, of course I kind of tick when I ask that one. You know, are you really wanting to do an eternity? And I've had some look at each other and go, yeah, we're going to be together for an eternity. Do you know what you're saying? Do you know how long an eternity is? Well, then you get the deer in the headlights look. What are you talking about? Well, an eternity states that you will bind together for the rest of your spiritual existence. In other words, if you die, you won't find anybody else that you love until you die and come back reincarnated and continue to look for each other. That's eternity. And most of them are like, no. Okay. Logically, I recommend as long as the gods see fit. I mean, what better can you ask? I have seen those that want to re-up their wedding vows a year and a day. Okay, whatever you want. Now also, like I've said before, in a hand fasting, I can hand fast as many of you want to be hand fast together. If one person wants to be hand fast to themselves, I'm perfectly happy to do that. If 5 of you, or 4, or 3, or 6, or 12, or 12, oh my God, however many want to be hand fast together, we can absolutely come up and with something on that and help you out. It won't be legal. It won't be legally binding. So if you want to know if there are children involved in the hand fasting after it's all done, and let's say there's 4 of you, and I'm just going to use this as an example. Let's say there's 4 of you that got hand fasted, and I don't know, you can do the sexes however you want to do it, but let's say folks start ending up getting pregnant and children are born of the polyamory household. Okay, great, whatever. That's you, that's how you raise your kids, get on with it. If there's ever a split, well, you're going to need to look up family law for your state and find out how that works, because I'm not getting in that. So what does the ordained minister give you the legal rights to do? Not much, really. Ordained ministry in Texas gives you the right to marry them. When a baby is born, you can do legally the what we call the paganing, what other people may call baptism, but we do the paganing, and we can officiate burials. In other words, we can sign death certificates as the person that witnessed the burial, the cremation, or whatever. I don't even know if that's a thing in 2020. I know back in the late 90s, early 2000s when I got mine, that was a thing that I could and have officiated burials and cremations. How you would handle those that they're putting in rocket ships now and sending to outer space, I'm not quite sure how that would work. Probably the same way, you know. But that's about, and you know, be a minister of a church gathering, organization, group, circle, whatever. But that's really about what ordained license gives you the legal right to do. And there's one other thing, but that's kind of touchy, and I'll talk about it in a minute. Does anybody have any comments or questions, Discord or chat area? Let's see, Clint says he's talking to Alan. So, I'm going to open the floor for a minute. Does anybody have any questions?
No, you said about most of it.
All right. Let's see. Clint says nope. All right. So, what is the final thing that I wanted to talk about in ordained ministry? This one, this segment is very touchy. You have to be very careful how you approach this situation. As a recognized minister, you can and often will take what we call the cleansing of one's spirit. What Catholics call, I lost the word, Cindy, help me. When you go into a Catholic church and you go into the little booth and you confessional, that's it. What Catholics call confessional, and I think Baptists just call it a meeting with the preacher or confessional or something. Pagans typically tend to call it, you know, a cleansing of the soul, cleansing of the spirit, where an individual sits down one-on-one with their minister and they talk about things that they've done that they don't feel good about. Now understand, as a pagan, most of us firmly believe that we cannot give absolution. Absolution is not a pagan thing. Absolution is a Catholic thing. Absolution is not even a Baptist thing. It's a Catholic thing. But as a pagan minister, hereby a spiritual counselor, we do not consider ourselves counselors. Because to use the word counselor in Texas leads people to think you are a licensed vocational counselor with a license and a certificate to practice psychology, counseling, what have you. We are spiritual counselors. We can help guide you. We can help point you in the right direction that writes for you. Most of us have the experience to ask the right questions. Now, here's where it gets a little blurred. in Texas, I don't know about other states, but in Texas and federally, if a person comes to you as their minister and they profess a federal crime, it gets a little gray. Because by someone professing a federal crime to you as their minister, it is your duty, it is the law. Alright, it is your duty and it is the law that you, one, have to report this federal crime and or talk your parishioner, if you will, into turning themselves in. I have only ever had this happen once. And there was a confessional, a cleansing of the soul by someone who came to me many years ago. And I immediately looked up what I'm supposed to do as a minister when someone confesses a federal law violation. And I was able to talk with them, get them to turn themselves in, and be with them during the process. It ended up being a non-issue. He thought he had broken the law. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I was not going to step into that arena and presume myself to know the law. But when someone approaches you as their minister and they want to do a cleansing of the soul, confessional, whatever the hell you want to call it, explain to them up front, I am happy to listen to you talk about anything, but please be advised, federal law states that if you admit to me a federal crime, I am bound by law to report that federal crime. Not nice, it's not happy, but it is what it is. And I've yet to have anyone turn away from me by explaining that to them. So as a pagan minister, yes, you are absolutely within your right to receive confessional, if you want to call it that. We call it the cleansing of the soul. So there you go. And I think I've about covered everything that can be covered. How to become ordained and properly registered. Before you perform any legal minister duties, check with your, if you're in Texas, check with your local county clerk and see if you're required to be registered. I was not required to be registered in Liberty County. I was not required to be registered in Collin County. However, I performed a wedding for one of our friends way back, and it was in Dallas, I think, at the Rose Garden. I think it was the Dallas Rose Garden, or was it Tyler Rose Garden? Hell, I don't remember. But whichever county it was, I was required to be registered with that county to perform that wedding. So I contacted them. I sent them via snail mail. This was before email signatures were accepted. But they mailed me out overnight. I paid for the overnight shipping, but they mailed me out the registration papers, filled it out, put a picture of myself in there, and what I was going to be doing, the wedding I was going to be performing, where it was going to be, and what we were going to be doing. Sent it back to them. And they sent back to me a registration slip stating that I was registered to perform that legal wedding in that county. So We made a copy of it. The couple presented that registration at the time they presented their wedding license after they got married. No problem, no muss, no fuss. So the legalities of performing actual ordained marriages in this country are not hard. They're not. They're really easy in comparisons by some countries. They're really easy in comparisons by some states, here in Texas. So I mean, that's it, folks. That's what it is to be an ordained minister in pagan philosophies, pagan ideologies. It's not rocket science. It's relatively easy. And as a 20-plus year veteran in pagan ministry, the only thing I can tell you is be true to yourself, be true to who you are, and be true to your people that come to you. If you don't know something, work together to learn it, work together to figure it out. The pagan ministry is, walk the talk as much as you can and just be who you are. That's it. That's about all we got. So I do want to ask, are there any questions? If anybody missed anything, by all means, once we're done, the video will instantly be available on Facebook. It will be digitally remastered and shrunk and put up on YouTube, Flickr, what's the other one? TikTok, and what's the other one? Damn, I lost the other one. But anyway, we're uploaded on several archives. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you may have missed it, you're joining in late or whatever, feel free to go back and check them out. Well, absolutely. Guys, I want to thank you for watching Open Pagan Church. We'll see you next week here for another topic. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.